So if you're a marketing manager apprentice, you already know that Knowledge K12 is a pretty big deal. Well, in this explainer, we're going to give you a clear roadmap to not just understand new marketing trends, but to totally master them, and crucially, prove you've done it. Let's jump right in.
Here's our plan. We're going to follow the journey of an apprentice. Her name is Jody, as she goes from feeling a bit overwhelmed to confidently mastering this key skill. We'll cover what K12 is really all about, how to get in the right mindset, a practical process you can actually use, how to show your work, and then finally, how to absolutely ace that assessment.
All right, first things first. Let's meet our apprentice and get a real sense of the challenge she's up against.
Okay, so this is Jody. She's a level 6 marketing manager apprentice working at a company called KSB Stores. And just like many of you, she's super ambitious, she's eager to learn, but she knows it's not enough to just learn this stuff. She has to prove her knowledge to pass her apprenticeship.
And this right here, this is her big challenge, K12. Now, listen up, because the most important words on this slide are not new or trends. The magic words are evaluate, interpret, and apply. See, this isn't about rattling off a list of the latest buzzwords. It's about high-level strategic thinking that gives your company a real, tangible advantage. That's the skill Jody needs to nail.
To really get a handle on K12, it's not just about gathering information. No, Jody needs a complete shift in her mindset. This slide makes such a crucial distinction. It gets right to the heart of it. Are you a trend follower, someone who just chases the latest type? Or are you a trend navigator, someone who thinks strategically? With a little help from her manager, Jody's goal is to become that navigator. And Jody's manager, Riddle, she just puts it perfectly here. The focus isn't about chasing every shiny new thing. It's about being smart. It's about strategic judgment, knowing when to jump on something, and just as importantly, when to hold back. All to create real, long-term value. So a trend navigator, they develop these 4 core abilities. It's like a journey, right? You start by seeing a trend, then you dig deeper to understand why it's happening, you weigh the potential upside against the risks, and finally, you turn all of that insight into a smart, strategic decision for the business.
Okay, so how does Jody actually start building these skills? Well, this is where her mentor, Adam, comes in. He gives her a really clear, practical framework to follow.
Adam breaks it all down into this simple 5-step process. You should think of this as Jody's map for analyzing any new trend that comes her way. It turns a kind of vague idea into a solid action plan. Now, step 3 is absolutely the most critical part. This is where the real strategic thinking happens. Adam pushes Jody to ask these tough questions. It's not about whether a trend is cool. It's about whether it's right for KSB Stores. Does it actually fit their business goals? Does it align with who they are as a brand? This is strategic evaluation in action. Look, developing this knowledge is one thing, but for her apprenticeship, Jody has to prove it. She needs to document her journey in her Optum portfolio, basically creating a logbook of her strategic thinking. This table is incredibly useful. Seriously, it shows you exactly what kind of evidence Jody needs to pull together. And do you notice a pattern here? The assessors, they want to see her thinking, that critical evaluation, the rationale behind her choices, and the clear line she can draw between a trend and real business value.
So, what does this actually look like for Jody? Well, it could be a formal proposal to use AI to make the KSB Stores loyalty program better. Or, and this is just as important, a well-reasoned argument for rejecting a fleeting social media fad. See? Both of those show strategic foresight. And finally, it's time for the endpoint assessment. All of Jody's hard work, her new navigator mindset, that 5-step process, her evidence, it all comes together in the professional discussion. And her coach, Olivia, is here to get her ready for it. Olivia runs practice sessions with Jody, using questions exactly like this one. And you know what? This isn't a trick question. It's a direct invitation for Jody to tell the story of her journey as a trend navigator, using all that evidence she logged as her script. So, how should she answer a question like that? Well, first, you set the scene. Clearly state the trend you were looking at and the business context. For Jody, that means talking about the rise of hyper-personalization and what that could mean for a retailer like KSB Stores. Next, she has to walk them through her thinking process. This is where she shows her strategic mind at work. She connects that trend directly to a core business goal, in this case, increasing customer loyalty. She's not just describing something, she's evaluating it. And finally, you describe the action and the result. What did you decide to do and what happened? Her proposal to pilot a specific program had a real, measurable impact.
This closes the loop and proves she can handle the full cycle, from insight all the way to a successful outcome.
So, we've followed Jody's journey, from an apprentice to a strategic trend navigator. She's developed the mindset, she's learned the process, and she's practiced telling her story. So now the question isn't just for Jody, it's for you. What new trend will you navigate next?